Scentiful. Evan, Ian, Eliza, Deanna, Macaulay, Karina, and Hannah's not here because of golf. So Macaulay will start us off.
Alright, so I'm going to talk a little bit about marketing. So we are aiming to market towards beginning yoga students. And so we realized that candles isn't really like a new thing for people who do yoga to use. Like that's a pretty big market at this point. But what makes our market unique is that we use scents to help yoga students focus and improve their skills. So we interviewed, over the course of this project, we interviewed lots of people along the way to help us with our progress. And our first prototype, our idea, a lot of people were really excited and intrigued by this idea. And overall, we had about 8 out of 10 people, the people who we interviewed rated it 8 out of 10 overall. Okay, so so the first prototype, we mostly focused on the scents that we used and which ones would be the most useful to accomplish helping students focus and improve their skills. And as you can see, we got pretty positive feedback. Rated about 8 out of 10 overall. Our next prototype, we focused on the color of the candle and how much, or the concentration of the scents that we want to use. And we got pretty positive feedback once again. Finally, on our last prototype, we designed the packaging for our candle. And here's a picture of it. You can also see it right here. We've got a window so that you can see the candle inside. And that way people can have more of a physical sense of like what they're buying. And yeah, people were pretty happy with this design. And so yeah. So also our competitors, there's a few competitors out there, but like I said, a lot of people don't focus on the scents that they use to help them accomplish help with focusing on yoga students. I guess like a lot of people or a lot of companies design candles for yoga students, but there's not a lot of companies who focus in on the scents that they use and to help beginning yoga students.
So when we were beginning to design what we wanted to have hold our candle, we always thought that mason jars would be a really great idea because not only are they aesthetically pleasing, they also help follow the Washington State Fire Code. The picture to the left is a screenshot from the Washington State Fire Code. It says, where candles on tables are securely supported on substantial non-combustible bases and the candle flames are protected. Pretty much the mason jar does exactly that. It holds the candle and it makes sure that it is not easy to fall over. And another important part that we did is that we made sure that the wick of the candle was under the rim of the mason jar because that means it's not considered an open flame. And next part was the logo. We wanted to stick with yoga, like Macaulay said. Our candles are meant to help beginning yoga students because the scents help bring blood flow to the brain. So the same week we decided that we wanted to have yoga students, we chose the upward dog position, where it really opens up your diaphragms and helps you breathe in the process of yoga, which is one of the very important things for yoga. And we wanted to have the girl be kind of the focus of our logo, so we put our brand name and then our tagline around her to kind of put the attention on her. So it says our brand name, Scentiful, like we said in the very beginning, and then our tagline, which is kind of blurry, but it says Scents That Fulfill. And then alterations and feedback. Megan Conklin came in and talked to us earlier a couple weeks ago about how to find your product. and your target audience and what prices you should follow. And she came in later a couple times in the week, and she talked to several groups. And when she came to us, she gave us a sketch to the very left, which is her idea to help us with how we should package our product. We saw a lot of great things. She gave us the idea to have the hole on the side, as you see here, to showcase our product for the customer. And she also gave us the idea of putting a hair tie around the packaging, so it gives something extra to the yoga student, because no one wants to do yoga with their hair down, because that's disgusting. And then after she gave that, Deanna actually took that into inspiration, and in the middle, she kind of added her own stuff to it, and then I'll let her kind of explain her process.
So this is Megan's design, and then I kind of took her aspect and I added a lot more detail. I put our logo here, our main, oh, not there anymore. I put our main logo in the middle, and then on top we did at first we had Scentiful, but then she gave us the brilliant idea to put the scent on top with a little sticker. So we have rosemary, then a little picture of rosemary, and the hair tie goes with the color and the scent. And this band was at first going to be a band, but then we found this on the floor actually, and we were like, wait, this is a great idea, because yoga students use these all the time, and many people do use them just for hair ties, but a lot of yoga students use them. So that was basically the sum up of how we went from her idea to ours.
Yeah. So after designing came the really difficult part of making net drawings and creating the box. That was a lot of trial and error for me, Deanna, and Macaulay. Personally speaking, when I would make the box, I would draw the dimensions correctly, but then there would be like a side missing from the box, or there'd be like 1.5 inches missing. So it was a lot of trial and error to find the perfect way to make the box fit. And actually, Macaulay came up with this design of the box, and when she came up with the idea, we all knew that that was the box that we wanted, because it's unique and it has all the correct dimensions, and it just fits perfectly. The candle fits in perfectly, and we really all enjoyed it. So the final design, as you can see here and in the picture, we came up with the simple white box with very minimal writing on it, because when we go to, when I go to maybe markets or the grocery store and I see candles for sale, there's a lot of color, and it kind of all blends together, and I can't personally tell the difference between one candle box to the next. And we all thought that the white box would just kind of pop out in the stands and just kind of draw on the customer. And some improvements that we still needed. There were a couple other changes that Megan suggested for the logo, but we did not apply it in the end, and we wish that we did.
Okay, I'll be talking about branding. So our scope is meant for beginning yoga. So what our candle is for, as Deanna stated before, is that our candle is meant for beginning studio people, and then we brought that in with the scents, and the scents that we used are scents that will help them in the yoga studio, and actually help them like the brain process better and help them with becoming a better yoga person at the beginning, because it's always harder to get into yoga when you first start with people that have been doing it for their whole life. And then our unique value proposition is also the same thing, is that we use rosemary and lemon. So we have 2 candles in our box right here, which we have. And what we did is we have, each scent does the same thing, but we ought to have a little difference in them so that they can have a choice on which one they would want to buy. So we had rosemary and lemon, but they both are supposed to help you with your with yoga. So then, our brand promise is to decrease your stress level when first starting yoga, because I've done yoga before, and when we came into a group with people that have been doing it so much, it's just harder to like take it serious, because all these people have been doing it their whole life and they've taken it very serious. So it's like, at your house you can use these candles, or at the studio, that will help you calm down and help you do yoga without the stress around it. So then our unique personality is our candles not only smell nice, but each scent has a certain job, which both rosemary and the lemon help you with your brain, like I said before. And then here's our visual library. As you can see, we went a big factor of yoga. We have the yoga women both doing poses, and then we also have the smell of lemon, and then rosemary. And we have the yoga, our candles in the mason jars. And then the name of our candle is Scentiful, and the reasoning around this is it's a scent, but it also fulfills a job. Like, we have a good scent, but then it fulfills you for that it will actually help you with yoga when first starting. And our slogan is scents that fulfill, like what I just said. And then, you guys want to talk about packaging concept a little bit more?
Well, we kind of went over packaging. Like we said, you know, it covers the whole thing because, you know, when you go to the store, well, when I go to the store, I prefer like packaging so I can hold it, because sometimes jars, they kind of roll around if you place them down. Sometimes they'll fall off things. This actually is sturdy and it kind of stays there. And on the inside, we have little things that hold it up. It's not just sliding around. Yeah.
So anyways, we've got like little holders inside of there, so that way, otherwise, obviously this is like a cylinder and this is square, so it would rattle around. But with the triangle holders in there, it stays really secure.
And in mason jars are easy to store. If it was just a candle, it could collect dust and it gets kind of gross. But that keeps it contained and all good. Logo. We went over the logo, but this is a bigger picture. This is our main focus. We have Scentiful and Scents That Fulfill.
I'll be talking about group dynamics. Now, at the beginning of this project, we were given a group leader, which was Evan, but we all felt that that wouldn't be the easiest way to have that happen. So we all decided that we were just going to work together, because we have a pretty big group as it is anyway, and we wouldn't really want to have one person making all the decisions. So we decided that we just had to be one group, everyone chipping in on the decisions being made. So it was just everyone basically. Now, communication was a huge part in this because we had a lot of people in and out. Like Evan had to leave a few times for soccer, I had to leave for track, and Hannah's not here right now, so she missed a lot of class or golf. So we had a group text that we texted, everyone texted right after class to see what everyone accomplished during the time period, and then later in the night to see if you accomplished anything else at home. And I mean, it was Evan checking on us every day as well.
So scientific for us. So for for our first lab, we based everything on changing the color, so that was our you know. So we used crayon to adjust the color, and when we called and interviewed people, the majority of them said they liked purples, violets, some said pastel colors. So out of those two, we picked a purple color, which you can see here, but we then adjusted the light and darkness. So one color was purple, and the other color was yellow, and they went along with the scents, which I will get to later. So our hypothesis was, if we increase the amount of crayons in the candle, then the perceived color should increase because the concentration of the color becomes more vibrant as the amount of crayons increase. So that is basically what we did. So our second lab, was focusing on a scent, and we, for our first of the two scents, we did lemon, because lemon brings blood flow to your brain, it helps you focus, and it just makes you more into like what you're doing. You don't get distracted as much. So that was a big help, and with that we decided to color yellow, because lemons are yellow. So our hypothesis was, if we increase the amount of lemon oil scent in the candle, then the perceived smell should increase because the concentration of the scent gets stronger as the amount of scent increases. So our third lab was basically the same as the second lab, but for rosemary. And for this, we picked the color purple because of flowers. So yeah, the exact same thing, same hypothesis, and in conclusion, everything went the way we expected. Nothing was totally different. One for lab one, you know, like I said. And overall, Scentiful candles were created and successful for the consumer. And we believe that with the help that we got from interviews and feedback from other people, we believe that we brought up the candle that we were expecting.
Okay. I was given the arduous task of financial management, most prominently deciding upon a price point for our candle. So, to start with, I took, earlier Macaulay mentioned competitors in our market, and I went through different lists of people's favorite candles, and then I kind of picked which ones I saw the most on those lists, and I plotted them on this graph based on the size of the candle and the price of the candle, and then I positioned our candle accordingly to those in order to find the price where we should put ours. So, for instance, Yankee candles have a candle of the same size, 4 ounces, but theirs costs $8, almost $10, and ours is priced at $6, which I use this graph and one other to get to that. So this is a graph of the, I basically went to the PCC, because everyone there does yoga, and I asked them, would you pay this much for this candle? And then would you pay this much for this candle? And this much, and I kept increasing until, so $0 to $10. So of course, $1, $2, $3, everybody says, yes, I would pay that much for this candle. And then you get to 5, 6, 7, and the numbers kind of decrease. And so that's basically what this information is. And then you find the sweet spot between the quantity of candles sold and the price of it, which you can see is right here at $6, which comes, it also factors in the previous graph. And then here is a cost breakdown of our fixed costs, which are things that we pay once and then we're pretty much set up to move forward with that permanently. So pots, beakers, whisks, hot plates, things that we can reuse over and over again. And that comes out to $107. And then here we have variable costs, and this is all set for making 100 candles. So the total of this is $215 for the jars that our candles are in, the actual wax that we use to make the candles, the scents, the amount of crayons, everything is all factored into this. So basically, for every 100 candles that we make, it comes out to $215, which if we sell each candle at $6, and the total for the fixed and variable costs comes out to like $322, then that's $277 of profit the very first 100 candles that we sell. And moving forward from there, we would be making $385 for every 100 candles that we sell. So, looking forward to the future, eventually within a year or two, we would like to move into a new workplace, a bigger factory where we can expand to like higher levels of production. Yep.
Okay.
Will you primarily be selling your candles at PCC or markets?
Yeah, we'd be focusing mostly towards places like PCC or Trader Joe's, places where there's kind of a lot of overlap between organic markets and people who do yoga, so it makes sense to position it there.
Yes. Is the scent of the crown detectable in this?
No. It did have a scent though, so when we added the our actual scents, you couldn't tell, but the crayons did have a scent for it. Just like, yeah, yes.
So my big question for you guys is that this, first of all, you did a good job at the presentation, but that was not 10 minutes. So I'm going to ask you to do something else. Send you a short email about that. Okay, just so we're clear. But kind of your premise is based upon the therapeutic effect of scent, right? And so my question for you is the same one I asked for the last group is, there are lots of candles that are out there. They all smell really good. There are probably rosemary and lemon candles that are out there already. So if I gave you $500 in 2 weeks and said, go big, to really differentiate yourselves, to really prove to me that there is something here that I can't just go out and go to PCC, for example, and find a scented candle and put it in my yoga studio. Like, what makes you different? What would you say if I gave you $500 in 2 weeks? What would you do?
Well, I think it's cool that we specifically are for yoga. So like you can go to a store and get a random candle for anything and be like, oh yeah, this is my candle. But when people come in and they're like, oh, that's actually kind of a nice scent, you can be like, oh yeah, they're specifically for yoga classes. You can get them here or whatever. I think that's kind of neat that we bring it's all like specifically for yoga.
Another thing, sorry, maybe if you gave us that amount of money, we could go out into the public again and ask them what they need help with when it comes to yoga if they are starting out. And if they gave us certain things that they need to improve or they need help on, there are other scents that we could use that are harder, like for example, cayenne pepper helps you focus. And I really don't think that there are candles that smell like cayenne pepper because no one wants that. So, it might smell bad, but it helps you in the long run.
But my concern is that I want a proven value, and you're just telling me words. I say words all the time, like, I'm going to go out there, and tonight I'm going to make a robot that is going to take over this whole school. If I say it clearly enough, you'll believe me, but I need to know there's something there.
How we came to the conclusion of lemon and rosemary is Korean actually did a lot of research into aromatherapy and the different types of scents that can help stimulate different parts of your brain. So I guess given $500, we would have a lot more room to make more candles and bring them out to more people so that we could get some solid research coming directly from us that this is actually doing what it's supposed to, and then apply that into advertising so that we actually have research coming directly from us as opposed to drawing on other people's research.
So you guys have like a basic like rosemary scented candle, which is cool, and I like the idea of yoga. But if I was to go out and buy another, not your brand, rosemary scented candle, would it actually do anything different to help me towards yoga than yours does, or is it just the concept in the brand?
They just because of the scent of rosemary, it helps you with, you said focus?
And then
Blood flow to your brain.
Yeah, just because, I mean, another rosemary scented candle would do the same thing, but if it wasn't for the way that our candles are packaged as us telling you that it helps you with yoga, you wouldn't know that.
And on how much rosemary we
Yeah.
put into our candle, we had to make sure that it wasn't too much, so it won't overwhelm you.
Yeah, which is a lot of scented candles
Yeah.
put way too much scent, and that's what they were talking, when we interviewed people, they said that sometimes it was like, they would buy candles that were way too strong, and we were like, oh, okay, so I guess we won't make them strong, so when you smell it, it's a very light scent, so you do smell it, and it helps you, but it's not way too strong.
Would it be worth it to use your $500 of money to maybe align with because candles, scented candles are a lot like perfumes. It's, your promise is pretty hard to quantify. Would it be worth it to use that money towards aligning with a hero yogini person to help you align your brand and help us out? Like Christy Burlington or somebody like that.
Yeah, that would probably be like, oh, hey, you do. Yeah.
Okay, so would you make different, like stronger scented candles for like yoga studios or for your house? Because like a bigger space needs a stronger scent so it can actually just smell everywhere.
Potentially, but we kind of wanted it to be more so oriented to cover like a wide range as opposed to like this is specifically for your house or this is specifically for your studio. I mean, down the line you might have variations for that, but we really got a lot of feedback from people who did yoga that's saying, I don't like a candle that's really strong. So it's purposefully like kind of less in here.
Okay.
Well, I had a question about your graphs. So in the first graph about the scent, where you got the feedback, what scent was it that you got the feedback on?
lemon.
Okay. And then the same thing for the color. What was the color that was rated?
It was the yellow.
It was the yellow one.
It
Okay.
was the yellow one.
Yeah, because the first lab we were mostly just working with the lemon.
Okay.
And take the rosemary until later on.
We also didn't get it in the mail, rosemary. We only got lemon.
Okay.
How long do these candles last? Because yoga classes can be very long, and if they don't last long, you have to keep buying them over and over.
Yeah, that's a good point. I talked to one of the, we have not, who did burn?
We measured the burn rate and it came out to, I think, a couple hours. We we want it to not be too long so that people have options. We think that people will be more willing to buy a candle that they've never seen before or never used before if it's less expensive, so it's less of an investment for them. Also, they don't just have this candle sitting there forever. If they don't like it, it will burn out pretty quick.
And as well, I talked to people who do yoga, and they said that they'd rather maybe have the candle burning before class and after, but not during, because the scent will still be there, but possibly the scent could build up and become overwhelming, like we said, and that's not what we want. So burning before and after could do the same thing, but not become too much of a smell.
Would you recommend your candle for just like a regular yoga class or like a hot yoga class?
Hot, definitely just regular.
Yeah.
Hot yoga is very different.
Because they're already.
And I mean, talk about like sweating and being really like breathing a lot. Yeah, that wouldn't help. I think. I also just don't think I'd be focusing on that. I'd be thinking, oh wait, crap, get me out of here. So.
I have 2 questions. One, how did you guys decide to do candles as opposed to something else? And then 2, what made you pick the market that you did?
We chose to do candles because I think that we all have a liking to them, and we had options as well. And what were you
So also that like everyone in past years has done soap, it's really cool that we could change it up and actually try something else. As in like Elliot, they did wax, which is very different, and to try something else that not everyone has done, it's just a new opportunity when everyone else has done soap, so that's all we know.
And one of the reasons why we picked this market is because beginning yoga students need help with focusing, because I've done yoga like 3 times, and it is really hard to focus on actually like breathing and like my surroundings instead of not falling over. And so these candles help you, the scents help you focus. So for beginning yoga students, if they were to smell this candle, they would be better at focusing. That was
You guys pass around the candles. Or did you?
can open it up. You can open it up.
It's not the final version.
8 out of 10. Let's refocus, guys. These 8 out of 10. I have 2 questions. What does an 8 out of 10 mean? Is that a transferable measurement? And my second question is, how do your competitors compare on this scale?
Well, we were just, like, if you could rate this candle 1 out of 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the least, they just, I guess, they added all the smell, the packaging, the appearance, they added all together.
Is that good data?
Well, that was the people's opinions. So I
feel like this scale is also based on like if you were to walk in the store, how likely would you be to buy the candle just by seeing it and not knowing anything else. And so I feel like people look at the candle and it looks pretty nice just visually, and I feel like that was probably a big part of that rating is like how likely would they be to actually purchase the candle.
So that actually brings up a good point as far as kind of biasing in surveys. So were these surveys, were they online surveys or were they in-person surveys?
Some people did on the phone, some people went in person. Like I talked to one person, in the gym actually during lunch, and I interviewed them, Natalie, because she teaches yoga at SAS. And then I also talked to a couple friends in Vegas. They both do hot yoga, and I knew that they would have a lot of great feedback. And I mean, the 8 out of 10 is a really good rating, but for example, one of my Vegas friends says that mason jars would be a good idea if you lived in Tennessee. And that was, really interesting because I thought that was something that we should take in, but then, we still stuck with the idea in the end because we all like the idea.
And I interviewed 2 people, and I asked them if you like just the candle itself or the mason jar, whichever one, and they both said they preferred mason jars because it's neater. Yeah.
Have you had anyone who does yoga been able to try this before they?
Hannah's neighbor is like a yoga dude.
She's a yoga instructor.
Yeah, she's a yoga
And
instructor.
she gave the candle to her when her brother and
I know that she was very excited to do so.
Yeah. Oh, Elliot.
Hey, yeah. So, these are for beginners. Do you have the benefits of the scent on the wrapper box, where they just
No.
no?
That would be the goal, though, I think, to have that somewhere, because the boxes don't really have a lot on them right now, but I think that would be a good idea.
Are there any ways to kind of tag on to that? Are there any ways to differentiate yourselves in terms of helping beginners in yoga besides just the scent?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's, like, we could maybe put some kind of like, top pose or quote or something in the box, so it's a little more.
And the hair tie.
That's true.
That's also something you can use the $500 and you're talking about, you can use it to find research, to find what else our candle can help with, what else the packaging can help.
Because that seems like a cheap, easy benefit. You know, like paying for a little bit more paper and a little more ink. Any other questions? Okay, well then I will do what I was going to do. So we're going to give the audience like a 3-minute break. And while the audience takes a 3-minute break, group, you can demonstrate your awesome group dynamics. I want you to tell me, go through this up here, I want you to tell me how you would cut that presentation time in half. What would you eliminate? How would you bring this into a more focus? Because it was probably about 20 minutes, something like that. So if I give you about 5 minutes, can you come back with a kind of an answer? That way you don't have